My name is Josh Miller. I own Riverstone Kennels, and I've been training gun dogs for more than 16 years. I have field trialed, I've hunt tested, but at the end of the day, I'm a duck hunter. You might find that the duck in our DUK Dogs podcast is spelled uniquely. The UK stands for my British Labs. I love my British Labs. I love what they offer me, both as a part of my family and the high motor in the field. As you're going to find, I have some pretty special dogs. Follow along in our podcast series here as we talk about both in the field hunting and in the field training situations that will hopefully help you progress with your dog at home.
Gosh, we have laughed more in this last couple of days than I remember. All right, everybody, welcome back to DUK Dogs. I'll turn my volume down here. I think it just blew everybody out. Hope everyone's having a fantastic day. We just finished a pretty awesome day here ourselves with a great pheasant hunt. New clients, which I'll be honest with you guys, there's always a lot of extra pressure that I feel, especially when they've been to other places, and it's like, where's the bar going to be? I'd say it's pretty safe to say that we exceeded all expectations.
Oh yeah,
fair. So we are all feeling really, really good. We just wanted to sit down and just kind of like get a quick one in because to give you an idea, we started working a little over 13 hours ago, and we need to get this done. We need to get showered. We need to get back down to the lodge. Chef Nate is preparing what I'm sure is another 5-star dinner. I get down there, I say grace, we eat, clean up, socialize a little bit, go take care of the dogs. I mean, we still have many hours left.
Game plan tomorrow.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so there's a lot to this. So real quick, I have two very special people to me with us here, which would be Mr. Carlos Flores.
Hey.
And Mr. Kyle Hinrichs.
Hello.
And so real quick, why don't you guys just give me a little bit of rundown of Carlos, professional trainer.
Mm-hmm.
Give us a little bit of background of you and what you do.
That's right. All right, everybody. If you hadn't heard before, name is Carlos Flores, and I'm coming from the Northeast there, currently residing in Connecticut. Boston boy, born and raised, and hopefully heading back there pretty soon. Working with a lot of pet dogs, behavioral dogs, obedience, as well as some gun dogs here and there as well. Ultimately with the goal of just giving you that well-rounded dog that's just, they can handle what you're throwing at them. You're a big city living and you like to go out in the country and get some good hunts in. You're hunting a lot and you want to throw different landscapes at them, different places you're going to travel with them across country, making sure that you're going from Mass to North Dakota. You're not going to blow their minds and what they're about to see. They can handle the trip. They can handle the pressure of trying to find what's going on when you get to that location. So that's really what I try and train for. All about sound mind and making sure, they're confident, they're bold, and they look good doing it. So that's a little bit about me.
And Carlos is a very, very talented, especially with the behavioral side. I mean, I've referred a number of clients over to you that you're just from a behavioral side, just so talented. So I really appreciate it. I love watching, you do your thing, with that. So, so Kyle, just a little background on you.
I don't have any talent, so... Kyle Hinrichs.
I was going to say we're just going to leave it right there.
That's right. He's still looking for it, everybody. We're getting there.
Kyle Hinrichs. I've known Josh for 15 years or so, probably. I've been on here before. It's been a couple of years. Sell real estate for a living and train dogs quite a bit with Josh and Zach at the kennel. Help them out when I can, and I'm head calf pusher in the chute at Miller Ranch.
That's right.
So I help Josh practice rope and just hang around and hang out with him and his wife and kids, and we do a lot together.
And you bring the best voice doing it. Always.
Try
the best what?
Voice.
Yeah,
I love Kyle's voice.
You do have the best radio voice ever.
It really does.
Yeah, I should have got into the voiceover stuff.
Yeah.
I did do a couple of commercials.
New Richmond needed a morning guy? Morning show?
That wouldn't be me. It wouldn't be me.
Give us your best impression, your best radio show best impression.
Well, let's see. What do we got? New iPhone 17 coming to you next week.
Pretty
Whatever.
great. Wow, that's pretty great.
And what's the temperature?
I don't know. Temperature currently is 47 degrees. Okay, let's
This
off
is
the voice.
this is how these last few days are going, which has
Flat
been
out.
fun.
We've had a great time. Lots
We
of
have.
laughs, lots of fun.
We
A little
have.
sleep.
And, a
We
little
have.
sleep. Yeah.
Here's what's great to me about this, and if you guys listen to the last episode, we're at the Pheasant Ranch, we're putting on these hunts, and I always talk about day one energy, and it's an easy thing to talk about. It's a very difficult thing to come to the table with, and it's the one thing that I've seen over and over and over again with not every, but the majority of outfitters that I've been around. It's easy to have what we're talking about, the camaraderie, the laughs, the energy on day one. But when you're on day, like for us, we're on day 14, right? It's much more difficult to have day one energy. Why do you have to have day one energy? Because the client is on day one. They look forward to this trip all year long. They're excited. They're energetic. You have to come with that energy. And it kills me when I see at different places, you see the drag, you see the hangover, whether it's literally or, or figuratively. Yeah. And it's something that is very difficult. And so we talked about it a lot, and you guys embody it to the utmost potential. And so I just think that there's so much to be appreciated there. And so I appreciate everything that you guys do, of course, but there's so much there to be valued. But because we don't have a lot of time, and we want to make sure we get a lot of this stuff in, I want to first off, give me something. So we have now put on, so like today, we did a walking hunt. Tomorrow we're going to do a walking hunt and a hill hunt. You guys have been involved with both, since being here. I'd love to get perspective because you guys are both in different situations, right? As far as like where you're at. So like, Kyle specifically, with Pip, you have a young dog that it is her first real season, right? So like, I'd love to get your perspective on that, especially because of how I think excited you were after these last couple hunts. And then Carl's just kind of like your approach with your dogs, because like you have 3 dogs with you, and your approach. I talked a little bit on the last episode, like my approach of there's certain dogs that I do let work in front of me. There's certain dogs I don't for certain reasons, and not everybody has the luxury that you and I have as far as having so many dogs and can pick and choose that. There is a challenge naturally that comes with that, right? Of the dog that does it all, right, versus the dog that does one thing really, really well. But let's just talk a little bit about that. So Kyle, let's start with you and Pip in particular. So Pip is 2?
2.5.
Okay.
Yeah. So we are not upland hunting her. So she's not doing any of the walking hunts. We've kept her specifically on the hill hunts because it's under control. It mimics what we've done in training so far with her, which is we got about halfway through our intermediate, and she came into heat. So we've gone through retrieves. We know what we're doing there. She's steady.
Delivers to hand.
He delivers to hand.
Marks well.
She place board, sits. So the hill hunt gives me a great opportunity to get feathers in her mouth in a setting that she's accustomed to, where if we're walking, those things can come unraveled. She doesn't really know quartering. She hasn't been taught any upland stuff. It would just turn into, possibly a train wreck. I'm sure she would do great, but
she probably would do great.
She probably would.
She probably would.
But we don't. We're at the point where she just had a litter. In case people don't know, Pip, had a litter with Riverstone, had puppies, and so we stopped training in July. She came into heat. And we haven't done anything with her since. She's been a mom, and those puppies went home 3-4 weeks ago. And this is her first kind of real experience back into kind of that brackets. Like, hey, this is training now. Again, we got to get our behavioral stuff. We got to get dialed back in on our obedience. And the best way to do that is to sit on a place board, be steady, watch that bird fall. I release you, you come back, place board, deliver to hand, and it's been great so far. She just amazed me.
Well, and I'll tell you, for me, because obviously I had some, thoughts as far as how, the reasoning of why we should be approaching it that way. And, if you spend 5 minutes with Pip, first you'll see that she's a complete softie, right? But then the very next thing you see is that she's got a mega motor. I mean, this dog is on her toenails. This dog, we're doing lining, work with her. At least we were before winter started. She runs her lines as hard as she runs marks. I mean, she's just all out. She's 100 miles an hour. And that's the biggest reasoning, one, of why, especially with the goals, that Kyle has in mind with her, that we want to really focus on her being steady and marking and not letting her go in front. We really want to make sure she's steady. Same thing, with me and Tucker, right? Like Tucker's just that rubber band waiting to snap all the time.
Yeah.
So if I let him get out in front of me and go, I assume the risk of, does that transfer over to now all of a sudden, are we too much on our toenails? Does it lead to breaking? Does it lead to certain things? Now, Tucker being older, I wouldn't think so. But with Pip being so young, you do have, that a heightened risk of that. And so that is one part of it. The place board, I think, is a huge part. And Carlos, just kind of nodded there, because all of the place board, she doesn't need a place board.
Right.
She's very steady. She does, but we are now in an environment that, one, can be a little chaotic, right? There's birds going everywhere. She's going to watch a couple hundred birds, go by her in the matter of an hour and a half, right? Hour and a half.
Yep.
There's a lot going on, right? And so, like, why wouldn't we give her the guidance, give her the clarity, give her every opportunity she can to understand, hey, I'm not going to create this bad habit, right? Going back to Eddie, if you guys listen to the previous episode, Eddie is going through a starter dog program. So we all have radios when we're on the hill hunt, right? We can all talk. And I don't know if you guys heard this the other day or not. Remember, what does Zach say? Eddie might be the
best dog here.
Well, he probably did say that. He said might be the most steady 8-month-old dog in the entire country.
Yeah.
He's like, this dog
I didn't hear that.
will not flinch, right?
And Eddie is.
And he is, right?
But he cut in, and he was just like an hour into the hunt, and he's just like, I think he's good.
Yeah.
He hasn't moved. He's quiet. He's hanging out. I think I'm going to end on that.
Right.
How great is it that you can do that kind of a training setup with clients there being like, this is real.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Everybody's winning in that situation.
That's right. Because so where we want to go with this whole conversation here, I kind of want to segue, there, Carlos, and I do want to talk about your dogs, but I think that was a great, perfect segue of this, because, we talked about, training, and you and I specifically talked so much about this while we're out walking, is, training is not hunting. Right. And so, like, when you look at what we're able to give Eddie, what we're able to give Pip, this is a hunt that we are using in a training format, but because it is so controlled in how we're doing this, it is almost as if it is a live training scenario, right? Because you have the option to, hey, we're going to have a buggy behind us 50 yards, put the dog up, like that's what Zach did. And, hey, Eddie just ended at the, we have half a hunt left, but instead of pushing it, that was perfect. I want to end on that. I want him, that fresh in his mind, boom, put him away, bring out a seasoned dog, finish the hunt. The live bird part of it. Go ahead.
I was going to say, we also had another client there with a relatively young dog as well, that as a part of again, this is controlled and not controlled at the same time. The birds decide where they're going to fly down the hill.
Right.
We're about 45 minutes in this hunt, making sure that she's seeing the birds and seeing that action and have an opportunity to go retrieve one or two. Not exactly going that way. Hey, guys, let's rotate them up. Mm-hmm. Let's give her an opportunity to get that. What happened next 3 or 4 she retrieved.
That's right. Yeah, and she ended up, I think, with 12 retrieves in those last couple of rotations, right? And so, although you can't control it, you're right. You can control a lot more than you can on a live wild bird hunt. And so I just think there's so many valuable aspects, to this. Looking at Eddie, looking at Pip, right? But one thing that Carlos and I have talked a lot about is, and this stems from. Early last week, we had a client that brought a dog in and to hunt, right? Not a dog from us. We've never seen this dog. Super nice guy. He's been training this dog. He sent this dog to a trainer, and the dog came out and did not look very good, right? Didn't understand what was going on, was walking at the guy's feet. Then he's like way, way, way up ahead, flushing birds all over the place, and, there's some frustration there. And the conversation I had with the guy is like, man, like what kind of training did the dog do, right? And he's like, oh, you did all the lab retriever stuff, like he's done. Well, that doesn't mean that the dog was in this, right? One, it doesn't mean that the dog did quartering work, did flushing work, did track trail flush, did any kind of scent work at all. That likely meant the dog was steady, the dog was at his side, the dog was marking, was delivering a hand, which is all great stuff, right? But just because the dog was quote unquote trained doesn't mean it was trained for the scenario that they were trying to put them in. And the analogy I made is like, that's like, I've been in the batting cages, and I'm ready to go, step up to the plate in a live game of baseball, and instead I walk out of the stadium and all of a sudden I'm playing basketball, right? Like, just because it's a sport doesn't mean that it's the same skill set that I've been working on, right? And so we hear and see that type of thing a lot, right? And we talked about it with our client here today, right? He talked about how his dog does great with, now this is, again, not a dog, from us, not that really matters here, but just I don't have more context is the reason I say I don't have more context past this conversation. But he's like, man, if we dry field hunt, this dog is on it. Like, this dog is marking great. He's doing everything great. The second we go to the water, he's nervous. He doesn't know what's going on. Well, how much training have you done in the water? Well, we really don't have the option to do that. Well, that's not the dog's fault, right? Like, so what I want to talk about, Carlos, with you especially is training the dog for what it is that you're actually going to ask the dog to go perform in, and the importance of that.
Let's go. So ultimately, like, what we saw, having conversation with you, some of the other guides here over the past few days, is just how much prep, how many random things we're throwing them into over the course of their training life exposure that ultimately gear them up for something in that type of thing. So again, I'm big on encouraging young dogs to kind of be bold and confident running through, taller grass pines or, through the woods and things like that. And ultimately, maybe there's a bird out there, some leftovers, or we strategically plant some, we have some like baby quail, or again, anything like that to get them to understand what they're actually questing and finding and trying to understand, and having them understand that over time, over briars, over fallen or deadfall, anything like that. So that, again, they can understand that I have to go out there, seek something, and I'm going to be rewarded for it with that control that we've done so much of. We've done that recall training. We've done the whistle training. We've done the walking at heel when we get to that particular spot. Ultimately, so that when we throw them in a field with a couple other dogs, or, hey, this weekend, 11? Mm-hmm. They still understand what's kind of going on there if they've had the opportunities to build that up and get into that. Again, you're not going to go from a bird and gun introduction or an intermediate level training situation and go right to, hey, this field, they're going to rock it, right? Mm-hmm. No, take those foundational skills and start pushing them. If you have any birds available to you, have some dead birds, or shoot, you can even take a bumper out there, practice those exercises and go out there and have them understand that. On the waterfowl side, no different. Again, if you're going to primarily do water-based hunting, what is that water? Is that on the river? Mm-hmm. Is that by the bay? You need to go practice for those scenarios. Otherwise, they're going to be out there and be as mind blown as anybody would be if they were doing something new and the pressure was on them to perform.
Right.
Ultimately, you got to feel for the dog that's put in that high pressure situation, because again, there's so much going on there. They have the desire, especially these dogs are super driven. They want to go find, please, really have that opportunity to go do what they were bred to do or been encouraged to do. But if they're going to have lack of success or not understand what's going on, and they're going to be confused by you, mm-hmm. they are going to fail. And that's right. Where I feel for the dogs that have that pressure on them to perform. So again, ask yourself, what are your goals with that dog and what you want to be doing? If you want to be doing all of these things, that's awesome. But it can't be, well, I go to training group once a week and I get the same 3 marks every time. Mm-hmm. But then I'm going to go out to North Dakota and try and upland and waterfowl hunt. Mm-hmm. That's not fair to the dog. So again, go to that training group. That's great. But maybe on the Friday, you're going to go walk in the woods and you're going to do something more productive there. Maybe you're going to go do something like have them actually get some good retrieves in the swim, or shoot, go out to a local WMA that has nice water, throw out your decoys in the summer, mm-hmm. and have them understand what they're looking at. Mm-hmm. Any one of those things can help them be more bold, more confident, and just be more set up for success. Mm-hmm. I hate that there's almost just this expectation that it's like they should just always get it. Some people even talk about like, Susie just figured it out. They were great. That's awesome, but she's in the minority. The majority of these guys, they just want to be told what to do. But when they get it, man, do they look good. Mm-hmm. And that's, again, like why I found things like, Pip's story so great, or that other young dog that we were working with, like just being able to set them up for success. Selfishly, I've even had those opportunities here, my dogs have an opportunity to hunt with a small group of clients or just, just with me. This is the first time they've seen this many guns in the field, but still we've had enough opportunity to build up to that they were pretty confident with it. And I was more proud of them, if anything, just because I was like, I'm throwing a lot at you. I'm going to see how it goes, but ultimately trust that we're going to get through this. And it was awesome. And now they're looking just great.
For sure.
Yeah.
I got a couple things off that. So one thing that I think you touched on that was really important was the opportunity. Right? Like the reality is that for them to go excel in anything, it's not going to be a one-time thing, right? So, and you made the comment, and I think it's you probably hear it a lot. I know I hear a lot of like, well, so and so said, like my dad said, my grandpa said, my uncle said, my buddy said, like, oh, just bring them out in the field, they'll figure it out, right? And you're right. Like if somebody had a dog that did that, and they worked with one dog, they probably think like, yeah, like you don't need to go do all this stuff. Like they'll just go figure it out. But think of everything that would have to go perfectly right for that situation. Like, and I'm not a flip a coin guy. Like I want to put in the work and know that it is going to work. But then two, you're right. That's a minority type of situation, right? Like most dogs need to go figure it out. But then also, let's take it another step further. They need the opportunity. Well, we have given dogs here. Well, we have given Pip here. Well, we have given Sonny, here. Sonny had never upland hunted before last week. You would not know that. Yeah, you would. Yeah, you wouldn't know that certainly today, right? But she also has hunted probably 7 or 8 days in the last 2 weeks. She has probably flushed, 100, 150 birds, and she's probably retrieved 70. That is how you make a dog very quickly. Now, she had to have all of this, built up to this as far as she had the obedience, she had the delivery, she had the control, she had all the stuff, right? But from there, think of all the opportunities. Some dogs don't get that kind of opportunity in a lifetime.
That's right.
And she just got it in 2 weeks. So if you're going to go on these situations that we're going to go talk about, right? So let's just say the water hunting, right? We're going to go water hunt. So we need to go prepare, we need to go train, and that's all great. Now, we all know the hunt itself is not training, right? So even when you go on that hunt, it's not like the dog is going to be Mr. All-Star likely that first hunt, but by hunts 4, 5, 6, probably. Now, if the dog's never going to get hunts 4, 5, 6, you're probably never going to have the all-star in that situation. But what are you preparing the dog for? So the whole thing for me comes back to, and you probably see this on the obedience side, right? Like if your dog is obedient in the yard, it doesn't mean that dog can all of a sudden go walk through the local hardware store and be that obedient,
right,
or go to the T-ball game and be that obedient, right? Because there's all these other factors that are involved. That's what I'm trying to talk about here with the hunt itself, is like we need to prepare them for all those things, right? So like if I want to take my dog to the T-ball game, I can't be in this just like low distraction environment of my backyard and everything is quiet and everything is calm and everything is non-distractive, and then all of a sudden, boom, blow their mind, right? That'd be like hitting off a tee and then trying to go up to bat at Yankee Stadium, right? Like you got to lead up to it, and there's going to be some failures. Make the corrections, understand why it was a correction, go forward. All of a sudden, you start molding into ultimately what you want. It doesn't happen overnight, but preparing them for before you go in that situation is so important, because what we don't want to see here, especially with clients that bring dogs in, we don't want to see a dog just all of a sudden getting lit up on the collar.
That's right.
Just like, no. The dog doesn't understand what he's being told no for, right? Like, it's just one of those things, like, if they're not prepared for it, they're going to go fail.
I'm going to paint a picture for everybody. There was a hunt that it was like a kind of end the group's hunt and just, like, make sure they had a really fun experience. And it turned out that way. Ultimately, it was a lot of birds in a field that at some points I could not see to my left or right. Mm-hmm. I'm not joking. I'm running 2 dogs. A bunch of us are running 2 dogs. And I could not see that distance. Those dogs still figured out a way to find us, find birds, retrieve birds, not get lost and completely gone from the hunt in general.
Right.
Think about how, again, stressful that can be as a handler, as, making sure that these clients are also getting a good show out of this too, and they're getting their laughs and their opportunities. That all happened through the culmination of making sure you had that foundation, setting them up for success again through training, through different exposure and things, and that all culminating into, hey, this really cool hunt that I was on edge the entire time, laughing but on edge, and coming out there and be like, that was one of the coolest things I've ever seen.
Right. Now, what I think is so cool about that hunt that you just referenced, that was the second time that we hunted that farm. The first time, I felt like it was a shit show. Like I feel like every one of us at this table, and I think Scott would say it if he was sitting here. I think Zach would say it if he was sitting here. We all had dogs. Jake would say we all had dogs that were out of control as far as we didn't know where they were. They didn't know where we were. We're literally in stuff that's 8 foot tall. We can't see the guy that's 15 yards next to us. It was awesome cover. Birds were going up everywhere.
Right.
But
everywhere.
but we're sitting there going and so we literally went into the second time hunting that farm because naturally for us, we're on a rotation. We got to hunt this farm, right? We have money invested in this farm. We have to hunt this farm. So we actually told each other, we're all on radios. Handle each other's dogs if you have to, right? Like if I see Augie, I'm going to be like, hey, Augie. And then I'm going to try to push him back to Kyle, right? And same, we didn't have to do that.
No.
And the why?
It's crazy.
Because the second time we went there, every one of those dogs went, oh, this is where we are. And they made adjustments. We made adjustments, but they made adjustments too. I'm telling you, I feel like Rory, I'll say Rory's my best upland dog by far, but I didn't know where Rory was for probably half the time on that hunt, and they would be like, hey, got Rory, and then Rory would be here, and then I feel like I'm over. But we all made adjustments, right? We all talked more. We stopped using our whistles, right? Because whistles, all the whistles are exactly the same, right? As far as different pitches, they just hear whistles. So instead, I went through and like, good boy, Rory. I overtalked to him. I felt like an idiot, right? But that helped him understand where I was all the time. He could still do his job, felt comfortable with me. It was my voice instead of a whistle, right? So we made adjustments, but they made adjustments too.
That's right.
I think that was just so cool about that.
So I go back to opportunity. We had the opportunity to do the same thing again. The dogs learned. We learned. We changed some things, like you said, strategy-wise. We can handle each other's dog. I got him, that type of thing. We had the opportunity to learn from the first time. The dogs learned. We learned. Us humans are, we can learn too.
That's
through
right.
opportunity.
That's right.
Obedience.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. So one thing, speaking of opportunity, switching gears a hair. So on the last hill hunt, you were ecstatic about Pip.
Yeah.
The first hill hunt, I think you were like, yeah, she did pretty good.
She did pretty good.
The second one, you were ecstatic. What was the difference between the first and the second?
She remembered the game, I think. She came back, like I said, she came into heat in July, and then we've got negative 10 degrees through the winter in Wisconsin. We didn't train a whole lot. There's always an obedience involved, but, she remembered the game. And the stand helped, that place board helped. She went, oh, I got this. I know this game. And she just dialed in that second day. The first day was a little chaotic, and there was a break in there, and I'm not afraid to admit things weren't tight. But the second day, she went, all right, I got it at the end of the first day, and the second day, let's just go. I mean, first bird falls, it literally fell 10 feet in front of her. Perfect break opportunity. Perfect opportunity to just blow me off and tell me I got this. And she didn't. She sat there. I got my video camera out. I made her sit. I started my camera and, made her go, come back onto the place board. And it was like, all right, I'm back in business. I know what I'm doing.
There's been something super cool just in general about this whole experience where the opportunities to kind of stress making sure dogs are successful, like Pip.
Yeah.
Again, you have 2 opportunities there. You're going to have a third where we're building on understanding of what she does know and showing her what she's going to want to know, and putting those together and ensure that she's looking good doing it. It's almost like the momentum game. It's you're going into halftime with hey, things were going really well. Yeah. Let's open the third quarter with really good opportunity here to keep that going. That's what this is for her, right? We saw it another. It was with Stevie. Mm-hmm. There was that opportunity that you caught her, had a really really good shoot. Hit that bird hard, bam, bam, bam,
it was
bam,
fantastic.
Bam, stop, sit to the flush, shot. And, she went for the retrieve. Bird, she didn't get an opportunity to get it. That bird came back, and you were like, I'm throwing that to her. You did it. I didn't say anything. You're just like, she needed to know that was everything we wanted out of her.
That's right. That's right.
That's the best thing about what's going on here is the opportunities to ensure that these guys are learning, getting better, and just having a great time doing it with all of us.
Well, and that's what's cool about having the right people.
That's right.
Right, is what it comes down to. So like in that situation, yeah. So Stevie, who is Carlos's dog, quartering back towards Carlos, but over a little rise because I don't think you can see this, right? And I watched her going from my right to left, zip around real hard, dive in, put this bird up. She sat down. She watched it. Boom. Watch it fall. The client dog runs, in, beats her to it, and she, just was like, oh shoot, you just telling her in her body was like, oh no, and so she starts going back, and I just took one out of my vest and I threw it for her because like she deserves a reward off that, right? That's what being with the right people, it means the world because now she got that reward. Now she's going to want to go do it again instead of go try to be competitive and just blow through that. Like you've done such a good job with the control. Like let's reward her for that control.
I'll throw in another small one. There's opportunities to see train wrecks and work through those too. So on the hill hunt,
plenty of those.
And I wish Zach was here for this one. So on the hill hunt, we had switched up to make sure everybody's getting their looks and stuff like that. And so his first bird finally came Max's way. It was like 90 minutes in. It came down, they got it down, and it was just over the ridge. And I knew Zach was on the other side, but I was like, I don't think he sent on that. So you know what? I paused, and Max is sitting there, and he's just waiting. I'm like, I'm going for it. Max, send him. He's sprinting up that hill, bam. And I just hear on the other side, solo, solo, solo. And Solo beat him to it, and he grabbed it. And all was fine because I was just like, all right, I'm just going to recall him back. Max, here. And he came back to my son. And I'm like, and he was like, I'm so sorry about that. And I was like, it's okay. But ultimately, like when in training, is your dog going to see another dog race from the exact opposite side for the same bird?
Right.
Like I was in such a comfortable place being like, Zach's got it. I've got it.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right.
Fun.
That happened to Pippa once too.
100%.
You were. We couldn't see each other. You were around the corner from me on this cone-shaped hill, and who was it? It was I can't remember.
Well, we rotated around to try to get Luke, our client, in a better spot to go pick up some birds. So like when I moved to get him in a better position, I mean I knew you were around the corner, but I didn't know where. Right,
Exactly.
It's the same thing.
We didn't know
exactly the same thing. Yeah. So I sent. I think it was Boris.
Guys, I promise.
Boris picks it up, and then all of a sudden I see Pip's like sad little head poke over the hill, like, wait, what just happened?
Yeah, and she, recalled her back. Pip, come. Right back in the place board, and she wasn't. She's like she's submissive and just a softie, right? She wasn't going to fight for that bird, but it was a good lesson. Like, hey, you don't get every bird,
right?
We do that with bumpers sometimes in training. Like, not everyone's for you. Right. I'm going to go pick that up, and you don't.
It just doesn't usually happen when you're 2 strides away from it. And it gets taken away from you. So there was one retrieve you in particular talked about with Pip that you sent her into the woods.
Yeah.
And she came out with a bird.
So we had I've got woods to my back, probably 30 yards behind me, 20 yards behind me. And this sailor went in there, and it was one of those where we had another bird coming right away. It didn't get hit real hard, and I was like, that bird might be alive. But I knew kind of where it was. And at the next rotation, so we rotate people around that hill, I brought her to heel, and she's not really super familiar with backcast, but that's kind of where we ended up. And I just sent her. I said back. She in the woods and just hunt. And I did your little hunt whistle, that little tweet, 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 tweet. And she doesn't really know that, but it set an example for her. She was hunting the area, so I just threw the whistle in just as a thing to go, hey, this is what this whistle means. You're doing exactly what this whistle means. And she did it naturally and comes out with the bird, delivers to hand. We walk back to the place board, throw her on place. And
you were happy about that.
I was like, holy cow.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I got a dog.
I got a dog.
Yeah.
And she is a good one. She's going to be great, and this summer will prove that, hopefully, and should. But it was really satisfying for me to see her work that area, knowing that she's like, okay, I caught a whiff. Like, where's that? Where's that? And to watch her be successful, come back, deliver, and back on place board. And, we had 2, 3, 4, 5 more birds in the next 10 volleys, So it was really cool.
Yeah, for sure.
I was excited.
Kind of like close it out on my end from just like this general topic again. Train for what you want, what you expect, what you're hoping for. That's why it's so important to have like those goals top of mind. Whether you're prospecting for a new puppy or you're middle of training with them, you're doing it at home or you're working with a pro, anything like that. Understand what you're going to be wanting out of that dog is a product of what you're going to expose them to, and be sure that they're going to be confident in doing.
Right.
So many programs, and there's nothing wrong with this. They're so foundational. Like, we're going to check the box on all these things, right? But it's like, again, if you're never going to see an open bay, why am I going to bother really making sure that dog is, going to be confident in that versus it's just going to be 95% dry field hunting, or maybe they're just going to be pushing out in front of me. Keep those goals top of mind so the client can really be happy with what's going on in that dog's development, and they can stack and build on that too.
Yeah.
That's just kind of how I'm thinking. I'm like, I have to make sure I'm keeping those conversations top of mind with, the people I'm working with.
For sure. Yeah, and for you and I, it's a big deal, right? Because we can't just come in and have a cookie cutter formula of every single dog is going to look like this, because they're certainly not going to go all apply it that same way, right? So everything has to be about, for you, Mr. Client, what are you looking for? How are you going to hunt this dog? What are your expectations? And we need to go prepare them the best we can for that.
That's right.
Yep. Well, we're running up to, we got to get down there because I'm sure we have a fantastic dinner waiting for us.
Sorry, guys.
Is he not unbelievable?
It's unreal.
He is fantastic. I'm telling you, I texted Ben from Cloud9 today, and I was like, here's what, if one thing has been just confirmed, these last couple of weeks with Nate, it is that one, he probably is owed 2 or 3 times whatever you're paying him, and 2, he is worth every penny.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he is just unbelievable.
He is unbelievable, but we got to slow down a little bit. We're going to have to buy new hats for him. His head's going to get so big when he hears this.
Well, I'm going to have to buy.
You haven't stopped talking about that chicken breast for 24 hours.
I'm going to have to buy new pants.
New pants?
I mean, how do you not lose all this weight when you do all this walking? Well, you have Nate cooking for you. That's what it is.
He does an amazing job. He's been a great addition, he's good at what he does, and glad he's part of our team.
That's right. Well, thank you both for taking the time, squeezing this in here. Thank you for everything you guys have done here. Very, very meaningful, to me and everybody else, around us. So
thanks for having us.
Big believer, and you are who you surround yourself with, and you guys are great examples of that. So, all right, you guys. Well, we're gonna go take care of everything we have here. Appreciate you taking the time, and we'll come back with another one here soon. Thanks, everybody.